the Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, she says she will get more police officers out of back offices. Apologies here, we've heard this before from Home Secretaries, but we wish her well on this. And back onto the streets, she says, are part of a radical overhaul of policing in England and Wales.
Well, the Home Secretary will pledge to cut red tape and unnecessary admin that prevents officers from spending more time on the beat.
Are we right to be cynical about this? We're going to talk to former Conservative Police and Crime Commissioner Festus Akinbusoye. Festus, you've seen Home Secretaries, you've worked with them. Look, we wish her well. She talks the good talk. Yes. Although Chris Hope, our political editor, just was telling us some stuff she's doing on migration, which is just shocking. Mm-hmm. Is this really the most radical shake-up in policing for 200 years, and is any of it going to happen anyway?
Well, I think Robert Peel might have something to say about radical changes to policing, but, look, you simply cannot regionalise local policing. The clue is in the name. Local policing is meant to be local, so the creation of these, mega forces, we've seen this in Police Scotland. Absolute disaster when they amalgamated about 11 police forces into one. They shut down about 100 police stations, and there are about 1,000 police officers less than what they were before the amalgamation. The Metropolitan Police, they went from a smaller borough command structure to these larger structures, and even the Casey Review absolutely lambasted the Metropolitan Police for the implications of that for Londoners. Why Shabana Mahmood thinks it's a great idea is beyond me.
Well, one of the aspects of the reform is the creation of this British FBI, which is supposedly going to fight crime that crosses borders. And there seems to be an argument for that. A lot of crime these days driven online. That doesn't have borders in the same way traditional policing would have. Would you support that, or do you think the National Crime Agency is doing that already?
Well, we already have this. It's called the National Crime Agency. Right? The National Crime Agency is responsible for the cross-border crimes. I've been to their headquarters in London and had briefings with them. They are there. We had before them the SOCA, the Serious and Organised Crime Agency. We also had the National Crime Service. Guess what they were all called when they were being introduced? The British FBI.
Okay.
So it's another reinventing of the wheel
familiar.
Again, and this is like the fourth time. And I thought we can be a bit more imaginative in the choice of names that we gave British organisations supposed to be British FBI.
We've got a problem with policing. We've got a problem we don't see enough police. That it is not visible enough. Everybody knows that. If you were Home Secretary, how do you change that?
The first thing we have to focus on, and I'm so disappointed that in this white paper, there's an R word that has been missing, is the word retention.
Yes.
Policing in this country right now, I'm telling you, is absolutely on its knees. The Metropolitan Police, for example, is going on the worst retention rates of any police force in the country. Many police forces are losing officers. They can't even recruit officers. We've got fewer police officers now than when Labour came into government. So the first thing has got to be, how can we make policing more attractive? And how can we make a place where people want to stay to work in? That's one thing.
Why are they leaving in so many numbers?
Well, the pay is a problem.
Yeah.
The level of support that many of them get in terms of operational activities is a problem. It is a very, very challenging job because of the mental toll that it takes on you. I mean, you could go from someone who has hung themselves to seeing a child who has been raped, to then seeing, a very, very fatal incident on the railway lines, to then neighbours fighting over a dog poo on their garden. You go from one extreme to the other, and every time someone says, oh, well, you're all corrupt, you're all racist, you're all this, how do you balance all of that? And we've got, for example, now, since 2020, in the last 5 years, I think, about 100 police officers have died from suicide.
Gosh.
That's an incredible figure.
100 police officers have died from suicide, and about 200 more have attempted it. Nothing is being spoken about this, and yet we want to make more people come into policing to stay in the job. Oh no, we're going to give them more targets, more targets, more targets. I mean, I just don't know what these people are thinking.
Yeah.
Using the internet without a VPN, a virtual private network, is a bit like taking to the road without car insurance. All it takes is one unlucky moment to cost you a lot of cash. This video's sponsor is Private Internet Access. They are the VPN to help keep you safe. Click the link in the description below to find out why over 30 million people have downloaded PIA to protect themselves online. A virtual private network is an app that hides your IP address and helps keep your data private. When you're browsing the internet at home, you give up a large amount of data to businesses, to shops, and indeed to social media giants too. Hackers have the ability to steal your personal data with ease, including sensitive information such as passwords, keystrokes, and even your personal photos. Private internet access helps protect your personal data by encrypting your internet connection to keep your data out of the hands of cyber criminals. And it's not just hackers either to be concerned about. Information can be censored too. When Canada passed their C-18 bill, social media giants decided to ban news content on their platforms. But PIA can protect your ability to consume the news and content you love. Private internet access is available for Windows users, Mac OS, Android, Linux, iOS, and you can use one PIA subscription to protect an unlimited amount of devices. And we've got a huge GB News discount for you too. Click the link in this video's description and you'll get a massive 83% off PIA. That's under £2 a month, the price of a coffee, and you'll get an extra 4 months completely free on top. Also, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee too. Visit piavpn.com/GB News to start protecting yourself digitally today.
Do you know if this is a similar problem in other countries, in other Western European countries?
So in terms of the issue of police officers dying from suicide and the mental strain that takes on them, it is quite common. I mean, I know some officers in the US as well, not parts of Europe. It's a similar kind of thing. But what we seem to have in Britain is this constant restructuring of policing, which is not really going to be of much help to the frontline officers. But in Britain here, we just need to make policing much more attractive, a better paid job, and stop
changing it all the time.
All the time, and we don't need these mega forces. We need to localise policing much more rather than this national thing that they keep talking about.
And we need them to do policing jobs and not act as social workers and probation officers and housing officers.
I have a friend who works in a school in Lambeth, and they had to call the police in 2 weeks ago because 2 parents had a disagreement outside the school. One parent said she felt threatened by the other parent, and they called the police. Gosh. And the police had to spend hours with 2 adults in the school for something that happened outside the school premises.
They're not a counselling service.
They're not, and the amount of police officers who end up dealing with mental health jobs or kids who should be taken care of by the care sector, it's just massive. And I just worry that this major reorganisation that's being talked about is going to miss the whole point of the issues that police officers are facing. And we just want these men and women to be there to support us. And all of this thing they're talking about, I just don't think, really tackles the problems for the most part.
Do you think, you're speaking about some of the jobs that police are called to now, do you think in the past, neighbours, teachers, other professionals would have stepped in to try and sort out arguments or try and sort out antisocial behaviour from youths, but now they're too frightened to do so and just ring 999? I
think there's an element of that. Everyone in the public sector now pretty much wants to see how can we divert risk to somewhere else. We're all under-resourced, so who can we pass it on to? And policing often can't say no. Because there's certain words you can use. There's certain words if you throw it out there over the phone, the police have got to attend. And that is a real problem that is now making life much more difficult for policing. But other than that is, I think we also have to be mindful of is that within policing, there's some decisions that could be made a lot better. For example, here in London, I don't know if you guys have talked about this. In the last couple of years, the Metropolitan Police wasted £250 million on amalgamating 2 IT systems.
God. 250 million pounds.
Yes.
That's supposed to save money, not cost money.
And that IT system is never going to work.
Yeah.
It's pretty much been abandoned.
Well, the dead hand of state, whether it's Whitehall government.
So if that can happen in one force, imagine what you can do when you centralise and have a single point of failure with this nationalised nationalisation of everything is an absolute nightmare waiting to happen, and I just hope any MP that has to vote on this, when it goes to Parliament, just says no. Go back to the drawing table.
Well, I think you're highly likely to be right there, Festus, because this government can't seem to get anything through at the moment. Festus Akinbusoye, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Now, if you've been affected by anything you've heard, we've been talking there about suicides amongst police officers. The Samaritans are here day or night, 365 days a year. You can call them for free on 116 123. Email them at joe@samaritans.org. That's Joe without an E, jo@samaritans.org. Or visit samaritans.org to find your nearest branch.